Please welcome our moderator, Ms. Yasemin Somuncu, Secretary General of EYODER, and panelists include Mr. Alistair from LUMENSTREAM, Mr. Bahadır Kocaaslan from Enerjisa, and Mr. Mustapha Aanzi from Hasa Energy, and Mr. Seeley from Climate Change Solutions.
Hello.
Yasemin.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Seeley. So, dear distinguished guests, we have had a marathon of 2 whole days, and for some of us it was a 3 whole day marathon. And this is the last panel. So I'm sure now the energy is a bit lowering, and you would like to have more communication. So we are going to have a more audio panel. This is the most audio panel in the symposium, and I would like to quickly start and just dive into the success stories, because we have 4 distinguished gentlemen today with us. First, I would like to introduce Alistair Brown. Please, the stage is yours. Alistair, let's start with you.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Perfect. Okay, well, everybody, I'm Alistair Brown. I'm the founder and CEO of LUMENSTREAM. We are a lighting-as-a-service ESCO headquartered in Belfast, Northern Ireland, servicing customers in Ireland, the UK, and now in mainland EU as well. But first of all, what I'd like to do is to say thank you to the Global ESCO Network for inviting me to participate in this event, and thanks to all the other panelists for their outstanding contributions so far over the last couple of days. The last panel in detail discussed some of the outstanding structures and finances available for ESCOs and EPCs that are currently available, and you'll be glad to know I'm gonna steer away from that. This is gonna be a little less technical, and what I'm gonna focus on really is telling everybody here about our journey at LUMENSTREAM and how we went from a standing start as a startup ESCO in 2019, and our basic step-by-step guide on our success story of how we got to where we are now, which is a business on its 3rd funding framework. We've successfully completed 2 rounds of venture capital investment, and we're now working on energy lighting as a service projects, EPCs, on an international scale.
Should I ask my first question? Or you more? Okay.
A little bit more, that's okay. I'll just do a bit more intro here. But back to the very beginning, apologies, Yasemin. But I joined the clean energy transition as a complete outsider. 10 years ago, I was working in the legal sector, actually in civil litigation, in a completely unrelated field. But I was very interested in business and passionate about the environment. And I believe that a business with the right mission can act as a powerful catalyst for positive change, and I still do. So I became involved in energy efficiency, renewable energy project development, specifically LED lighting projects. And it was during that time that I encountered some of the challenges facing both project developers and customers alike. Number 1, limitations on capital expenditure and lack of budget. And number 2, that government intervention had created an ecosystem where businesses had become incapable of making decisions without government-led financial incentives. And so I launched LUMENSTREAM in 2019 to offer customers an opportunity to upgrade lighting systems to more efficient technology on a fixed pay-as-you-save basis.
Thank you so much for the introduction. And my first question to you would be, on securing project capital, can you elaborate on the challenges facing an ESCO in leveraging a project pipeline to secure project capital?
Yeah, sure. Well, tell you what, let me quickly run through this slide, because I think I'm going to answer a bit of that question, and I'll answer it specifically for you as well, Yasemin. But what we found when we launched LumenStream in 2019 to offer our lighting as a service model was that we needed to secure third-party financing to offer this model to our customers. But financiers were not actually interested in establishing a financing framework with LumenStream at that stage without guarantees of a large-scale deployment of capital, without efficient flows of future receivables. And this became a real chicken and egg situation for me personally, because on one hand we had LumenStream, we wanted to offer customers a fixed monthly fee, pay-as-you-save concept, but we needed the finance to do that, right? We couldn't do it without the finance. The financiers on the other side, they were saying, Alistair, LumenStream, we love the concept, we want to do this for you, but we need guarantees. We need to understand where this future flow of capital, future receivables is coming from. And that was a difficult situation, but how we ultimately got around that as a solution was to develop a robust pipeline of future projects requiring financing that we could then leverage to obtain a financial framework from an infrastructure financier. And that came with significant risk, but ultimately it paid off. And in 2019, we secured our first funding framework with Ingenious Capital Management that you'll see there, a London-based infrastructure financier. In 22, we doubled down on that and secured another 5 million facility with a German asset manager, Aquila Capital, and in doing so actually set up our first SPVs, our first kind of funding receivable vehicles. And most recently in 2024, we set up a framework agreement with Siemens Financial Services, where again, we set up a brand new SPV, LumenStream Energy Efficiency Fund, for reassigning receivables for LumenStream's customers. But onto your question about the challenges, Yasemin, the specific one that we faced was actually the biggest challenge in kind of putting a framework together is building that pipeline of projects that I mentioned, building a robust pipeline that financiers could rely on for the future flow of capital. Because in order to develop that, it costs LumenStream and any other ESCO a large amount of time and energy and human capital to build that pipeline, right? You need to hire technical people, salespeople, project developers to push it along. So yeah, ultimately, a business could quite easily cash out, essentially, until they actually start securing contracts and getting deals over the line. Such is that kind of lag time in a pipeline in an ESCO contract. So that's the biggest challenge. We got around it by relying on venture capital, very similar to how I guess a tech company would use VC money to get over that kind of valley of death that early startup businesses have.
Thank you so much for your answer. And my second question would be, raising venture capital is challenging. Can you provide insight into what fund managers look for when considering investment opportunities?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll quickly talk you through this slide first on fundraising, and then I'll answer that as well for you, Yasemin. I've spoken about the debt capital, but what we found was the debt capital wasn't enough to offer the model. We needed to back that up with equity, which we essentially raised through venture capital. And back to the point I made on the last slide, this is because the pipeline for developing lighting as a service, it's too long to quickly generate sustainable sales that will generate the cash flows to keep a business like LumenStream or an early stage ESCO alive, essentially. So what we found was that we needed to raise venture capital to cross that bridge. And so to do that, we drafted financial projections based on all of our early data gathering, designed a pitch deck, and then very similar to anybody who's watched like Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, we went out there, pitched to investors, and in 2022 we secured that capital. The question that you've asked there, really, in terms of what challenges that we face, was it on?
When you provide, can you provide insight into what fund managers look for when considering investment opportunities?
Yeah, so the main one's scalability, right? Any investor, any VC speaking to an early startup is going to be saying, show me your roadmap to scale. How are you going to get us a 10x investment return? At what point are you reaching what revenues? And at LumenStream, we were able to get over that challenge in two ways. First one was to have an automated pipeline, so building automations into how we develop projects. The second one was that we actually, similar to the conversation in the last panel conversation, was that we've aggregated customer projects, whether it's, and we were able to demonstrate to investors how by project aggregation with multi-sided customers, multinational operators, that we could rapidly achieve scale as a single ESCO.
Thanks so much. Next question would be, what key performance indicators did you track to measure the success of your business plan after securing the initial investment?
Hang on, I've lost my slide here.
The monitor is out.
Coming back.
Monitörler gitti arkadaşlar.
This one, perfect. Hang on quickly. Let's see. Okay, so key performance indicators. So look, using venture capital is a very high-risk strategy when you're trying to grow an ESCO like this. And the reason being is that you're going to use WIP, or work in progress, to develop your pipeline. And when you raise venture capital, you're going to start spending cash very, very, very quickly. There's a really quick burn rate when you start hiring technical people, project developers. So in terms of KPIs, what we specifically got, and I mean obsessed about, was analyzing the conversion rate of every customer touch point along the sales pipeline. So after you've had that first kind of maybe online demo with the customer, what percentages of customers went from a demo to a survey? After every survey, how many customers went from a survey to a presentation? Presentations to contracts, how many contracts did we win? And if you critically analyze that, it gives you very accurate forecasting, and it allows you to make better decisions. And that really explains the company growth that we went through following that seed investment. We managed to increase revenue times 10 within 18 months. Our pipeline went from 3 million to 15 million, and as you can see, we're now working for some multinational organizations. All of these businesses we have multiple ESCO lighting as a service contracts with across the UK and the EU.
Thank you so much. And my last question for now would be, what advice would you give to other ESCOs looking to scale their operations through venture capital?
What advice would I give for scaling through venture capital? I think the best piece of advice that I would give is to gather data. If you're going to sit down in front of VCs, if you're going to ask for people to invest in your business, you need to have financial forecasts which are incredibly accurate. And if you're gathering data from your sales process from the earliest stages, it means that there's an accuracy of data, accuracy of forecast that you can't obtain in any other way. And that will de-risk what you're pitching essentially to VCs and fund managers. So that would be my biggest piece of advice. And then onto the slide here, you can see that following the last round of investment, like I mentioned in the last slide, LumenStream is very successful in securing business with multi-sided operators, multinational companies. Our customers don't have borders, and an example of this is a US multinational named Ivy Technology. We successfully contracted for factories that they maintain and operate in Szombathely in Hungary and Bydgoszcz in Poland. And we've seen that as a trend with a lot of the multinational customers that we work with. As a result, we decided to double down on that model. And very recently, actually, just in the last couple of weeks, we've secured another round of investment, 1.3 million, led by Clarendon fund managers to grow the business yet again.
This is a success story, definitely. And thanks so much for all your answers and sharing all your experiences with us. Now I would like to give the mic to Bahadır Kocaaslan, and Bahadır is representing our main sponsor Enerjisa, and a big thank you to Enerjisa again. Before I start my questions, I would like to have a 2 minutes of presentation. Obrisa, please. Thank you so much for this wonderful video, Bahadır. Would you like to just give a few words before I start my questions?
Well, first of all, I'm really very happy and excited to be here and also a part of this International Second Expo Partners Symposium. This is a really very great honor for my company also to support the event. And secondly, personally, I am also very much happy because in terms of my own personal purpose of life, last 30 years in the industry, I've been spending my life to create energy efficiency, create efficient solutions for industry and homes and at every segment of our daily lives. And this is the way that we can help our country to develop and get a better options and future for our children. So that's why Energisa's purpose and vision is quite very much, fitting into my own personal, which we say in Enerjisa, people has right to live in a sustainable energy world and a better future for everyone. So these two words are actually summing up Energisa's main stance in our global high energy consumption and threatening climate change environment. So,
thank you so much. Now I would like to ask my first question to you, Bahadır. Considering challenging environment against global warming and energy efficiency, how does Energisa position itself with its services and projects?
Yeah, as I said, I mean, Energisa has two important mottos. People has right to live in a sustainable energy world, and we are creating necessary infrastructure and facilities to enable this. And when we talk about Energisa, actually we're talking about three major business domains, whereby the first one is generating nationwide energy through, hydro power plants and coal power plants, natural gas or solar and wind. And this is one part of the business. The other part of the business is actually Energisa Energy has a three distribution region where we're distributing 14 cities electricity. So we're making people meet with energy. And this is about 10.6 million subscriptors, which is about 22 million population. So almost 1/4 of the population. We're letting them to get unseizable, power. And the other part of Energisa is, which I am representing actually, Energisa Customer Solutions. And as I said, my own personal purpose to create a more efficient world with, more renewables, more sustainability. And so this is where we're trying to make this purpose come true, and we're trying to enable companies, government, institutions to get that aim. Energisa Customer Solutions is actually a ESCO model project developing company. And in some senses, we can even say we can be dubbed as a super ESCO. What we do is basically we do solar power plants for our customers, or wind energy plants, again, for our customers who would like to offset their carbon emissions and achieve, net zero targets. At the same time, we are making industrial scale energy efficiency projects. And so one of them was actually, we have just seen Brisa project where we established very big heat pumps and saving 6 million cubic meters of natural gas and plenty of water and energy. So actually, in our ESCO model, we put customer in the center of focus. So rather than classical ESCO companies, we are always trying to chase after the challenges for the customers. So, for example, in a morning session, I asked, what do you aggregate? And the answer was, you can aggregate anything, because every customer has a different understanding of aggregation, different understanding of finance, different understanding or need of efficiency, whatever. So this is what I love with my job, mostly because plenty of opportunities, plenty of ideas and creativity is underlying. So we're starting with the customers, challenges for the customers, whether they have wasted heat, whether they have high energy bills, or whether they have carbon zero targets, whatever. So we're developing our model according to that one. And so I think one of the questions would be how we're providing that to our customers and what sort of customer benefits we are creating. And actually, when we approach to our customers, we are putting our expertise and resources into the project. When I say expertise, this is a really very important resource, because I think it was yesterday's session, one of our panelists said that we're bringing expertise because this is our core business. And for a manufacturer of any product or any technology or any other kind, it's not their expertise to create energy efficiency projects, or they don't know machinery and equipment engineering as well as our teams to create them, convert them into project opportunities in their plants and facilities. So this is a really important part. So our customers can really utilize their own human capital, as Alistair said, into their own business, their own financial capital into, again, their own business. So we're kind of an angel on their right shoulder, solving their energy-related questions and problems on behalf of them. So also we're putting into the project planning, project design, because we have a very strong back office, consists of about 50 engineers who do design, and also we have very prominent and strongly capable consultants network that we work with together to develop projects. And for example, Onur is also one of them, and we're quite happy with working with him. And at the same time, we bring finance and construct the plant or the efficiency project, whatever. And so we're solving this problem of the customer. I mean, during the sessions, we discussed many things about assessing to finance. So as Enerjisa, one of the strongest companies in Türkiye, we really have very strong access to finance, both local and international. So we're gathering these financial opportunities to our customers serve. And after constructing the plant or the facility, we give performance guarantee. And when I say performance guarantee, Enerjisa is really guaranteeing the performance because we are getting our money back throughout the performance of the facility in particular is generating. I mean, if it is a solar power plant, we need to make this plant generate energy so we can multiply the unit price with the energy generated, and we can convert into a real bill. And or if it is a energy saving contract, again, we have to make the facility run properly and in a very good condition so that we can ask our customer to share the energy saving, our parts. So, and all this actually creates a very good, secure environment for the customer, because Enerjisa is taking all the risks, financial risks, technical risks, implementation risks. I mean, very interesting thing. For example, we are establishing a solar power plant, and it is running 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and a very big storm happens, and the panels are flown away. It's not the problem of our customers, it is our problem. Because under the contract, it's ours responsibility. So we are really creating a very secure environment for the customer in this methodology, both for renewable energy plants and also for energy saving contracts. Yeah.
Thanks so much for that answer. And now you are showing, I think, some case success stories. Yes. So perhaps we'll go on with the success stories, and you can also give some insight about how you are applying the ESCO model into your projects.
Okay. Well, actually, as I say, we're dealing with, solar power plants. It might be on, land scale or rooftop scale, and also wind power plants, in some cases hydro. And also we're always, taking an eye on the other new technologies like hydrogen and other energy solutions. So this case study of Galatasaray football team is one of the most known, reputable projects because it has a Guinness record, 4.2 megawatt of capacity installed on one stadium roof. Up to now, this is the biggest one. So still the record is with Galatasaray, and well, this really creates a very good. How can I say? First of all, I mean, one of the sessions we were also talking about, ESCOs are quite important because we're creating awareness.
Yeah.
So such a project is really creating awareness. So if this is possible on a stadium roof, then it might be possible on my factory's roof too. Or there might be other options, opportunities, so chances. That's why this is a very important case study. The other one is energy efficiency at industrial scale, which is a very important project again. This is an ORC project, Organic Rankine Cycle. What we do with Organic Rankine Cycle, for those who don't know the technology, is actually, energy-intense industries like cement or steel or, iron. These industries are consuming massive amount of energy, and they are really creating huge waste heat energy. So with ORC systems, we are gathering those wasted heat, putting them in a turbine, and converting this wasted heat into electricity. So in this facility, with a 25 million euro investment, we have installed a 5 megawatt installed capacity turbine system, which creates huge emission benefits and huge sustainability goal benefits, and also energy as a gift with the project. And the better part yet is the finances by Enerjisa.
Exactly.
And so this is going to be about 72 months contract, and in 5 years actually after the installation, in 5 years we're now getting, so the investment payback period is also relatively short for such a big project. So I mean, 2 days long we have been discussing about bankability, scalability, etc. So when the scales are huge, I mean, things are really become bankable. This is an example. And really the payback periods are also getting shorter in that sense. And yeah, another one is just the, on the movie, we have seen it, the Brisa Kocaeli plant. Brisa is a tire and, this rubber thing manufacturing facility. And we have installed there a 4.5 megawatt heat pumps, and we're, saving 4.3 million cubic meters of gas. And also we are eliminating 6 million tons of carbon dioxide. So this is also a very showcase project. Yeah. I think these are the cases.
And thanks so much. These are all very exciting projects which have been realized. And it's very interesting to hear, of course, from the people who have been part of it. Thank you for sharing them. And what are the major challenges for ESCO projects and companies who serve with ESCO model?
Yeah, I mean, actually, last 2 days we have been discussing all around the same topics, the difficulties, challenges, and yeah, I mean, from capital, both in monetary terms, to human capital, which is also a very essential part of it, and fundraising, these things are really real. But if we need to talk about Türkiye in particular, we also have, economic instabilities and trust eliminating factors. So investors' trust are degrading, and then we're having difficulties to convince investors, factory owners, plant owners to do this sort of investments, even though the finance is being brought by us. Yeah, I mean, because in high fluctuation environment, really people don't know about, they're not sure about tomorrow, what will tomorrow will bring. So that's the thing. And nowadays, as globally, I think all the participants in this room is sharing the same feeling, global political and security concerns, I mean, all around the world. These are also creating some downgrading of the economic confidence in terms of financials and the corporates. And so we have already talked about this collateralization thing. It was my question to panelists, how do you do this collateralization thing for countries with high risk like Türkiye, financial collaterals, and being sure about, secure about that you're going to get your money back out of that huge investments is really a very key factor. And at the same time, regulations should be helping this sort of long-term ESCO investments to flourish. So because we're not banks, as Pierre put it really very, very nicely yesterday, we need to feel confidence from the government or regulations, regulative authorities that the investments that we are doing will be really paying off or will create results, and also government regulations will be creating. When I say government support, I'm not talking about please give us subsidies. It's not. I mean, if you create the necessary framework, legal framework, and if you really create a trust environment, then the entrepreneurship will find its way through, really. Because somebody also said that it's all about gains. It's all about the yields, what we will earn out of it. So private industry, private sector, private companies really know about it, and we're all chasing after this also. Everything will be on its own natural flow if they can create necessary policies and regulations. And nowadays, energy policies and carbon policies are helping a lot, but subsidies on energy prices totally creating a reverse effect on that one. So these are the challenges, major, yeah.
And in fact, when we talk about the subsidies, it's really it's again from the pocket of the end users, and we have to find ways to let people understand that all these subsidies are coming from us again.
Yeah, so it's a very delicate topic,
yeah.
actually, policy makers' perspective, and I'm not against society benefit, but also things should be balanced, let's say. Yeah.
Yes. But yes, the society's benefit is coming again from the society. So there, how do we find the proper words to make people understand?
Maybe we can say that we should be supporting disadvantageous part of the society, supporting disadvantageous part of the society. Yeah, so maybe I can slightly mention about the merits of doing ESCO projects for customers, for those who are not familiar with the ESCO world. Actually, in ESCO, we're not, no upfront investment is required or no OPEX is required for the customers because Enerjisa is doing all this part. And Enerjisa guarantees completion and the performance of the facility. At the same time, Enerjisa is an enabler. I mean, in this symposium, this enabling, this word is the one that I really like most because, really we are enabling dreams or things, thoughts come true. And then, for upcoming opportunities, we have licensed generation projects, and no collateral needs is needed for this sort of projects. And also, we are serving to sustainable targets, carbon offsetting. We are creating PPA contracts, whereby fixing long-term energy prices. And also, we have already discussed this off-balance sheet plant investments are possible.
And my last question would be, what new opportunity areas are ahead of us for near future to implement energy and environment projects with ESCO model?
Yeah, I mean, me and my team is really very much excited about this newly regulated storage-backed licensed renewables industry. So we're really expecting great opportunities out of it. And also biomass is becoming a big opportunity with the trouble it creates, because this waste elimination, sludge elimination, mass elimination is becoming a huge problem for local governments, municipalities, etc. And also it's creating its own advantages and opportunities. And also we still have very important projects for waste heat recovery.
Thank you so much, Mustapha. I will pass over to Mustapha, and I'm thanking to Bahadır again for this very in-depth presentation. And
Christopher or
no, you are first.
Okay.
Yeah, Mustapha, it's your turn.
Yes, we had discussed that. So actually, yes, our panelists were quite busy, so I grabbed them just at lunchtime, so we are trying to improvise a bit.
Yeah, I think because I think we have 10 minutes. Should we go through the slides and then I'll hand it over to Christopher and see for the questions, or you want
No,
to start with
I'm with you now.
Okay, perfect.
So, we have Mustapha, yes, exactly. And Mustapha, I would like you to give some background information on Clean Energy Business Council and Advancing Net Zero Volunteering Team.
Okay, yeah. So thank you all, everyone, for attending this event in beautiful Istanbul. Considering the time, we'll be very short to the point. We're representing two non-profit organizations, which are the Clean Energy Business Council and the Advancing Net Zero Volunteering Team. So to start with the first one, the Clean Energy Business Council, as mentioned, is a non-profit organization that represents their members at various engagement with public and private stakeholder engagements to discuss about policies, regulations, and how we can actually promote energy efficiency and sustainability. We have 5 working groups: climate finance, hydrogen and energy storage, women in clean energy, energy efficiency, and future mobility. So most of our ESCO members are active in the energy efficiency working group, where we have launched the first ESCO survey in 2019 for the Middle East region, which gave insight into the size of the projects, the cycle, etc. And more recently, we also worked with Federico and his team on the ESCO survey for the Middle East. Then going to the other organization, which was established more recently, which is the Advancing Net Zero Volunteering Team. And that organization is also a volunteering, let's say, setup, supported by the Dubai Supreme Council of Energy to get started. And here we are trying to create a platform to discuss about net zero. We have seen that around 145 countries committed to net zero targets, or they are discussing on them. And these countries are responsible for around 88% of the CO2 emissions. So it's a very significant contribution to the global emissions. So we wanted to raise that awareness and to create a platform where each one of the members can learn from the other. We have like a hospitality group where one hotel, for example, has already developed their roadmap and set targets for 2045 to be carbon neutral, while others are still discussing what is net zero. So we try to expedite that process by bringing them all together. Yes, they're all hotel groups, and you can consider them competition, but there is no competition on the common goal to decarbonize. So that's a goal that, yeah, we all should support. So within the Advancing Net Zero, we have 4 groups: buildings, industry, communities, and awareness. Also here, we published a few papers, which you can also find on the website. And the nice thing about this, like for example, the paper about deep retrofits, It was a collaboration between members, volunteers from ESCOs, from clients, but also from Super ESCO. There were two members from the Abu Dhabi Super ESCO who contributed to this white paper. So we're actually working on this from different perspectives. So,
yes, thanks so much for
Thank
this brief introduction. And you have developed the ESCO Plus concept. And could you explain us about this ESCO Plus concept in detail?
Yeah, so the ESCO Plus concept came into play by being in the market also for around 20 years. And at that time, I heard for the first time about ESCOs. And soon I found out that ESCOs provide guaranteed savings, shared savings. And that has not changed over so many years, while the world around us is changing rapidly. And especially when you look at the commitments that we mentioned about net zero, the 145 countries, or these are governments that committed to those targets, and also the private sector who committed to net zero, the question now arises, how do we as ESCOs fit in that journey? So, because they're talking about net zero, and we're talking about shared savings. So how can we make sure that that synchronizes with each other? Because if you look at the report from the International Energy Agency, where they developed a scenario for 2050, you can interpret it in different ways. But what I see here is that it's not only solar, it's not only energy efficiency, it's not only mobility. So it's a mix of solutions that we need to roll out and implement to achieve our 2050 or 2045, whatever date is set as your target. So that means that we as ESCOs, because the last few days we have been hearing about the challenges we have with clients, we have challenges with financiers, but these are external challenges we cannot much influence. But what can we do as ESCOs? What can we do as Super ESCOs? Looking to our way of work, how can we anticipate and develop something that can suit the direction that we are going to? I'll try to keep it also, again, very short here. I looked at the statistics, and around the world, shared savings, guaranteed savings are still the main common, let's say, contract types. When you look at the market, you can see other types. You can see the cooling as a service. You can see PPAs. You can see BOT models. So each one of them have their pros and cons in terms of the payment model, in terms of the duration of the contract. So what if we blend them together? What if we create like a kind of a service level agreement that merges different types of contract and simplifies for the client? Because we see in the market the client doesn't want to discuss with this company on energy shared savings, with this company on solar, with this company on cooling as a service. And at the end, it will create issues because we are all working on the same system, same infrastructure of the client. So it's better to have it consolidated into one agreement. Yeah.
Yeah, you can continue.
Yep.
Yeah, continue.
Okay, so here you can see the pros and cons from each type. But overall, if you would mix these types of contracts, you create also a more balanced risk for the ESCO. If you have solar, solar is considered to be a more bankable, more straightforward solution than going for a controls optimization of your building. So this is how we kind of visualized it. It's to say, okay, let's say if you would take different forms of contract and merge them together and work on energy conservation, efficiency, renewables, and decarbonization, by also considering digitalization, electrification, which was discussed also in some previous sessions, you end up with something like this. This is for a real case scenario. It was one of our clients where we were proposing initially to do a retrofit solution. But then the client came back and he said, like, we did the other project for solar and it is not showing the savings on the bill. But the way how they look at it is that they have installed solar PV systems. At the same time, no one is looking after the demand side of the building. So if they add more equipment, if they change the operation, you will not see the same reduction on your bill. So based on that, we started discussing and brainstorming and said, okay, let's say if we would take the retrofit investment and we would take the solar investment, and we go to the investor and tell them, can you tell us what will be the tariff rate if we want to recover this in 15 years? To simplify it for the client. So they came back with a tariff rate which is around 0.076 euro cents per kilowatt hour. And this includes both solar and the retrofit solution. If they would go with solar only, they would pay less, of course, 0.055, but they still have their old equipment that needs to be replaced. So in this way, you can give the client immediately a reduction on their cost because you're giving them kilowatt hours at a lower cost, plus they will be saving the 83,000 euros on their energy bill from the retrofit solutions. You can go even a step further, and if you want to add cooling as a service, you can bring money and tell them, look, this old chiller plant is end of life, but still I'll give you €500,000 euros or 1 million euros. So they will get actually cash for the chiller plant, and then you start charging them on a cooling as a service model where you include solar and cooling and retrofit at a certain tariff rate. So this way you can blend and you can balance risks and simplify it for the client. And that's something that it is in our hands as the ESCO community to look into diversifying our models. Hope there's still some time for, please.
Thanks so much, Mustapha.
Yeah.
We have a fourth panelist, Christopher Seeley, and Chris just popped in the day before. So in the program, although our session looks like it's 45 minutes, it's 1 hour now, as is the last panel also. So I would like to give time for Chris to make his presentation. And can we have the last presentation, please, for Christopher? So perhaps until we get the presentation of Christopher, Mustapha, I can ask one question?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Is the ESCO model, ESCO Plus model, more complex than the common shared and guaranteed savings models?
Well, not necessarily. Because if a client has to negotiate with an ESCO on shared savings, then they need to negotiate on a PPA, then they need to negotiate on a cooling as a service contract. That's also complex. So because there are different discussions. While now, if you consolidate it into one contract and you pass through those negotiations, then it's fixed. You can cover your solar, your retrofit, and your cooling basically in one agreement. But I think as the market evolves and contracts become, let's say, readily available, there could be a certain extent of standardization of those contracts, which makes it more simple.
Yes, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Until we get the presentation there, I think we are still waiting. Chris, perhaps we can talk about the ESCO Association in Thailand. You can tell a bit about them and before we start your presentation, because it will take a few minutes, it seems.
All right, yes. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for the privilege of being up here with such a panel of expertise and experience. I'm here actually representing the ESCO Association of Thailand. And even though my slides do have this summarized, the ESCO Association was set up back in 2007. 7 years prior to that, there was a lot of activity with the government and with the World Bank in setting up pilot ESCO projects. And then later on, 2007, when the ESCO Association was then established, it's had stable growth over the past 15 years, the sector itself. And at the moment, we have 50 members, 50 member companies, many representing about a capital registration of about $250 million US. So quite a large capital strength of the 50 companies or the 50 ESCO members in the association. Because the ESCO industry has been, was established several years ago, there's a lot of experience and expertise. Some of the ESCOs have been around for about 25, 30 years. Many of the core ESCOs that are doing a lot of the projects in Thailand right now have about 15 to 20 years of experience in doing this. Some of them are relatively small, some of them are relatively new, but others are relatively big. Even some of them are listed on the Thai Stock Exchange. So you'll see the breadth of businesses involved in the ESCO market in Thailand.
Thanks so much. If you don't mind, I'll just go there to find your presentation. I always have to go behind.
All right.
Do you mind?
Thank you.
So we'll just see.
Actually, yesterday, one of the panelists mentioned that in Thailand, there's a almost quite, enlarging and, speeding up market for ESCO business.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you call it? Is it more for energy efficiency or more for renewables, public or private industries?
I think in Thailand what we've done along the way has been to separate energy efficiency and the renewable energy. I mean, the market for renewables, solar farms, large megawatt solar rooftops is a bit separated out from the ESCO models and ESCO businesses and, and the ESCO association to a certain extent. Although we're seeing that there's some duplication or link between projects where there's different measures being undertaken, a lot on the energy efficiency side, and also an inclusion of some solar rooftop at a certain extent. And we have recent members that have joined the association that are purely focusing on the solar rooftop business as well.
Yeah, I see. I see.
Maybe there are questions from the audience, I think.
Maybe just some questions we can receive from audience.
Yeah.
Yes, gentlemen, in the front.
See, we're just taking over the session now.
Exactly. So let's engage the audience so they can...
Yes, thank you, Mehdi Bijloun from Morocco. I had a question for Monsieur Bahadır and Mustapha, particularly about the ownership of the installation, because we work about photovoltaic. When it's PPA, it's quite clear. But how about when we talk about heat pump, about heat recovery? Is it always possible to keep the ownership, and what type of contract exactly is with the client?
This is a really very good question, meilleur question. Well, actually, our model is not build, own, and transfer. Rather, our model is build, transfer, and operate. So, at the first day that we start the facility is starting running. So we issue our capex invoice to customer, and we transfer to the facility to the customer. So it's owned by the customer. So they can utilize the amortization benefits, and they can also receive that one. And but during the contract, like, let's say 60 months, 72 months, we keep operating the facility. And so this is the model that we run.
So they have a debt on their balance sheet in front of the asset that they reimburse for you.
In this case, I mean, most of the time our customers are private companies. In this case, actually, they are keeping the assets on their balance sheet, of course, with the accompanying liability at the other side. So some customers do not prefer having it. I mean, they may prefer off balance sheet, but most of the time we are using, because in Turkey we really have strong subsidies on investment by government, and also some VAT and tax benefits. That's why it is more attractive to those companies, and also they are getting amortization benefits. So to sum up, it is better for them. Yeah.
Thank you. Clear.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, now.
There's another question
there we go.
from
But I
behind.
think we'll first go back to our presentation and then
Is it okay?
go to QA.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, I know I'm standing between everyone and the end of the day, so I'll try to be quick. But as I mentioned just now, here's kind of a summary of the ESCO Association members in Thailand. And as I mentioned, the ESCO sector kind of began back in 1999, so we're about 25 years on, and we've finally reached about 50 members with a capital registration of $250 million. I have taken 2 specific case studies from Thailand to share with the audience today, one of which is a hotel group. They're a local hotel group in Thailand who owns and operates at the moment around 45 properties. That description up there is a bit old. But this ESCO project was very much specifically on energy efficiency retrofitting of existing properties. It was undertaken across 6 of their largest properties, across properties which were hotels as well as resorts in island resorts in Thailand. And talking about deep retrofits where each one of the projects achieved somewhere between a 30 to 40 or 42% savings on energy consumption and energy cost. And this was achieved by introducing several different measures at each one of the properties. So looking at holistic approaches to energy efficiency, putting them all together into a performance contract. Many of these solutions, all of you in the audience would be very familiar with. A lot of the focus was on HVAC, replacing old air-cooled chillers with high-efficiency water-cooled chillers. Hot water, a second most high consumer of energy at the hotel resort level, where we installed heat pumps, both air-to-water heat pumps, water-to-water heat pumps, integrated that water-to-water heat pump into the chiller system, central and decentralized systems at the hotel level and the resort level, occupancy control-based sensors in order to prevent the air conditioning from running in the guest rooms where there weren't any guests. And then most of the properties included a solar rooftop system as well. So overall, this was a combination of various different energy conservation measures into a project. And here's some illustrations. But as the business model that was used for this was a leasing model, where the ESCO financed the project by themselves on a 7-year term, and every single ECM had a performance guarantee associated with it, and the contract was, or the guarantee was based upon a contract which mandated M&V undertaken according to the IPMVP protocol. So adapting the global standards in order to verify the savings for every single project. It was about a $3 million project that generated about $600,000 worth of savings every year, and the contract term was 7 years. So now the challenge is to replicate this across their portfolio and also raise enough funding to continue this kind of a business model, which the client is relatively happy with. The second case study, which I'd like to share with you, is from one of my colleagues sitting in the front here, from an ESCO called Asbil, a Japanese ESCO operating in Thailand for several years now. And this was undertaken across 2 different phases. The first phase, it's a shopping center building, and the first phase was very much looking at installation of a building energy management system, addressing or installing variable water flow or volume controls on the pumps, and an inverter control system on the cooling tower. And then the second phase of this project was actually a more comprehensive chiller plant integration between the tower building and the shopping mall area. A significantly large jump from the initial almost $500,000 project value to a $3 million project value. and a 10-year system efficiency warranty with operations maintenance contract and verification done according to the IPMVP as well. One of the very interesting technical components of this project is the last one there, the chiller plant digital twin, which is a very interesting technology where the operation of the chiller is actually mirrored in what they call cyberspace, and different optimization options or simulations are undertaken for the chiller where it can actually evolve and better manage or optimize, constantly optimize the system to make sure that it's being optimized and production or operation deterioration is limited over the long run. So this is very interesting technology. The gentleman up here is really the one who has the expertise around this, so if you got any questions afterwards, please approach him. Just to summarize, as I mentioned, the ESCO sector in Thailand has been around for about 25 years now. We have plenty of different models. The standard ones you see everywhere, the guaranteed savings or guaranteed performance contracts, the leasing contracts where the ESCOs are financing them on a fixed monthly repayment, for example. And then you've got a lot of new projects being implemented according to the cooling as a service or chauffage model, where the ESCO is installing the equipment and selling chilled water, hot water, and steam to the client, for example. We have some district cooling projects, and we're seeing a lot of power purchase agreements or PPAs in the solar side of these ESCO contracts as well. I think that's all. So.
Thanks so much, Chris. I did not want to miss this presentation, so somehow we did it.
Thank you very much.
There's a question there. We are running quite out of time, so we will get one question, because after this we have the closure, and then we have the B2B session, so everybody can ask their questions. So we can get one question. The mic, please. But I would like to thank all of you, because you are from different parts of the world, different background, different economies, different culture, different construction habits, and how you bring all these experience and the wisdom so far is very important to share. And then the critical point is, as I started this discussion in Bahadır's presentation already, how do we transfer the know-how, the wisdom, and the good practices to the rest of the society? Because for many hours now we have been discussing, and we have all these very good presentations. But what is the next step? How do we enable the society to open the doors to us to share all this experience with them? I think that's the critical question. There's one question. Can I have the mic, please, there?
Yes,
we'll get one. You have it already, please.
My question is this. Everybody is living in the building complexes, and they have been, for each flat, they have been paying a lot of money for common heating system or something like that. Everybody is suffering from that. In Istanbul, it is very huge money for some flats, nearly same hiring the building flat money for common units. You have talked about the solar energy, wind energy, and to get the energy efficiency for these purposes. For complex of buildings, I heard from some information from the France company is doing energy efficiency using the heat pumps by piling deep. Therefore, with the energy heat differences, they have been using energy from that. Therefore, they will be able to work the heat pumps.
You mean ground source heat pumps?
Yes. Therefore, this is very main problem in Istanbul for the complex buildings, and it will very lower the prices if we be able to do that. What do you think about this?
So you have mechanical engineering background, and I also have this background. Maybe I can talk about it. So, well, I have several interesting experience about heat pumps. What you're talking is actually ground source heat pump, where we are getting energy from the ground and convey it through some refrigerant cycle into the heat at the house or in the spaces. Also, there are some other sources like water source heat pumps, under soil water source heat pumps, and air to water heat pumps. When it comes to heat pumps, actually, well, they are really very convenient technologies. But everything is related with the scale again. I mean, the discussion is again coming up to the scale. So when it comes to ground source heat pump, it really requires some high technical capabilities, high technical requirements, and some area to lay down all the heat exchanger, or you have to go deep enough to get enough heat with these heat exchangers. So most of the time, ground source heat pumps are not economically feasible for residential size, but mainly facility size or big capacity sizes, ground source heat pumps better. But for apartments or for small houses, villas, etc., air to water heat pumps are much convenient and feasible solution to heat up. And in our country as well, we are using frequently, especially in the western part of the country, Mediterranean side and Aegean side, we are frequently using these air-to-water heat pumps, and it's really very, very convenient in terms of cost and ownership cost as well.
And I think it's also on the demand side, because if you insulate your building better,
yeah.
If you go from high temperature to low temperature heating, let's say from radiator to floor heating, you need smaller heat pumps, smaller capacity. It makes it more feasible. So I think you work on the demand side, and then...
Absolutely, absolutely. That's also a very important part. For example, a couple of years ago, I was in Munich for one of the Intersolar conferences, and one gentleman from Switzerland said that on top of a mountain, with just 18 kilowatt heat pumps, they are heating up a 500 square meter villa, which is very properly insulated. So it's also demand side, as you say, Mustapha. That's true.